I got wrongfully arrested. That was in 2009. When it rains, it really pours, because immediately I got out, I got terminated from work, and my name was so maligned. Post-serving my sentence, I eventually got cleared of any wrongdoing, compensated by the government, and still I couldn't find work. So I set up Clean Start, and what Clean Start does, we go into the prisons, we train the women.
Have you ever thought about being incarcerated, or perhaps families that have gone through letting go of their loved ones just because they are serving a sentence in the prison? Yes, this Saturday on Globe Traction, I sit down with Teresa Njoroge, the founder of Clean Start, an initiative that is helping ex-convicts start their new life. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling very well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome to the show. Thank you for making the time.
It's my great pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Please introduce yourself before we can start this terrific conversation.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Teresa Njoroge. I'm the founder and CEO of a social enterprise called Clean Start Africa. And I'm also the convener of the Beyond the Bars Africa Annual Conference, and the patron of what we call Sisters on the Outside. Yeah.
Beyond the Bars
Africa Conference
is what really made me want to have this conversation with you. And I'm happy because from where we sit at, I believe you have a lot of information to share with me.
Yes, indeed.
And I'd like to take you back to when you are working in the banking industry. And then you were wrongfully convicted, according to what you told me, you shared with me. So I'd like you to talk to me, a bit into that, for the sake of, our viewers who didn't have the opportunity to hear.
So true, indeed. Beyond the Bars is a fruit of a long journey. And the beginning of that journey is when I got wrongfully arrested. That was in 2009. And I went through a malicious prosecution because the arresting officer knew that I hadn't committed the crimes that he was, subjecting me to be persecuted on.
What do you mean he knew that you hadn't committed that crime, but he still went ahead?
Upon my arrest, he, I had handled a fraudulent transaction unknowingly at the bank where I worked.
What happened?
So we paid out a client, as was procedurally at the bank. And after we paid the client, after a while, the client came and said, I am not the one who withdrew the funds from my account. And so investigations started. And yes, I did see some people get disciplinary action who were part of the
process?
The approval process. But after some while, it just went quiet. So I always had this question at the back of my mind, what happened? Because I never got to see the final investigation report, because that would then show what the recommendations were post the investigations have been done. But I continued with my work. Even though unclear, you've got this hovering question around you. So this fine day I report to work, and some officers come to my workplace and they say that they are there to, talk to me. So at that time, I thought it's to unravel what happened, and so that I could contribute further, because I had already gone through my questioning. And I was happy that we'll get to understand, or however, anyway, I'm needed. Even I want closure to know. But there was a turn of events and tone when the arresting officer said to me that he had not come to investigate or to find out any information. He had actually come to arrest me. And I was like, but how can you arrest me yet I did no wrong. So after a back and forth, he actually arrested me. And, you know, I was taken to the central bank fraud unit
Yes.
for further interrogation, you know, the arrest process. And at that point, he said to me, I know that you did not steal and you're innocent. I know that. But I am proceeding with the prosecution. But if you would give me $10,000, that's like $1 million bob, this case will disappear.
Stop it.
He did.
How much of the client's money had been transacted?
It was 9.9 million in total.
I see.
And I said, so how do you know so well that I didn't do any wrong?
And you still are going ahead to, you know,
first you arrest me, then you're proceeding on. Like, how is this even possible? But at that point, I got locked up at Kileleshwa police station that night. So remember, he picked me from work. Here we are now. He's taken me to be locked up at Kileleshwa police station. And then the following morning, he arraigns me in court. And he asks me as he's taking my fingerprints, do you have 1 million shillings?
Yeah, like still persuading you.
Yes.
So now everything done, then are you spending the night at Kileleshwa police station? Or?
So after I was charged in court, and I was now asked to pay bail, which I didn't have at that point. And so I was taken to Langata Women Remand Section. So in the course of that week, I hired a lawyer. I managed to get the bail through my family and friends who supported me. And that's how I got out. But when it rains, it really pours, because immediately I got out, I got terminated from work, and my name was so maligned. You know, I was now the bank manager thief, because that's what the news reported, the bank manager thief. So it was a very tough time.
And while all that happened, did you ever come to realize who is it that set you up?
I eventually did add one and one together and realized that there is no way someone would have just walked into the bank, withdrew all that money over a period of time. It's not like he did one transaction. It's not like I was the only one who was involved in processing that payment. I actually had managers who were above me, who were final authorities, who had authorized.
That means they saw the whole thing happen.
Exactly. Yeah. And the fact that I was singled out to carry the cross on behalf of the bank, when at the end of that long route, it did add up that there were some insiders who knew what was going on, to the point that even during prosecution, we couldn't have the CCTV at the time of my serving the client, which would have been proof to favor me that I paid this client, but it was now their word against me.
Right.
So,
and I think, Teresa, what got me to have this conversation with you, even in as much as you went through a traumatizing period, is the fact that you still rose up.
Yeah.
And, you know, have done many other amazing things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about the initiative that you founded.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm really interested to know how far you're going and how everything is going about.
I tell you, every cloud has a silver lining in it. And I
believe so.
Yeah, our job is to look for that silver lining in that cloud, because tough as the journey was, as you say, I met some amazing ladies.
Yeah.
At first, that's not what I referred to them. Like any other person, I looked at them as criminals.
While you were behind bars?
Well, I was behind bars. You know, I was like, I have not done anything wrong. I have come in here and I did not there's nothing that I have done to warrant me being behind bars.
You didn't commit that crime
Yeah.
you're being charged
But
for.
here I was thinking, I am innocent, you are criminals, so judging them. But as I stayed with them, I saw my unconscious bias, because what made me think that I was the only innocent person who had been sent there, but they were rightfully there? Like, what kind of bias is that? But you see, it's the narratives that we hear.
Yeah.
So you grow up knowing anyone who's there is a criminal. And as I listened to their stories, I was, drawn, so much compassion came over me when I heard their stories. These were women who never had education opportunities, because as we all know, education here is not equal for all. That's the truth of the matter. It depends, the supply and the quality depends on how much you're able to pay.
To afford.
Exactly. So and that's education. And so most of them never had education opportunities, and post missing those education opportunities, definitely they didn't have high stakes when it came to employment. And if they ever were, they were underemployed. And even if that didn't happen, they didn't have capital to have economic opportunities, decent income generating opportunities. So, and I'd hear their cry. So that's how I was like, okay, I think I can do something. And remember, at the point of conviction, I had just been blessed with my firstborn daughter. She was 3 months old, and that's how, and we went into prison with her. So I was with all these other hundreds of women who were also accompanied by their children. So I'm looking at all these little innocent children. It's not their crime, yet it's their sentence. And this is how they're beginning life, including my own daughter. But I'm hopeful when I get out, I will continue fighting to give my child better opportunities. But these women are getting out to hit the streets, to go and hawk. No, there's no one actually who's even coming for them. And it was at that point, especially when I saw women leave, and 2-3 months later, they are back. Or a woman is being released and she's crying tears, like, where am I going? She has no bus fare, she has no food, she has no where to go and stay, and she's crying. I'm like, so prison is better for you?
But hold on, when you say they're being released and 2 or 3 months they're coming back, yeah, what happened? Did they commit another crime?
Yes. Sometimes deliberately.
Oh,
so they know if I go and hawk at a particular area, the city council Kanjo will come and they will rough us up and they will put us in their vehicle and we will be taken to city court or whichever court, and then we will end up in prison because I don't have bail. So why is she considering that an option? Because when she's sentenced for, even if it's 2 months or whatever amount of months she's sentenced for, she will not stress about food. She will not stress about rent. She will get a break.
Food, accommodation,
and just company. That she's not running up and down, cat, chase, mouse, whatever game with the city councillors carries. She's getting a break. It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking, but I'm glad that you're here to solve the problem, because I think that's the gap you saw, and then you decided to come up with that
with the Clean Start.
Yes.
Exactly.
So when did you establish Clean Start?
So as soon as I got out, I tried a bit to find employment. I didn't, because at that time I was trying to get employment to be able to find some money to then run the initiative, because I didn't have money. But then I never found work. Of course, the tag of being an ex-con was following me just like a shadow. No one trusts you. Even though I got cleared, post-serving my sentence, I eventually got cleared of any wrongdoing, compensated by the government, and still I couldn't find work. That tag is very heavy. So when I couldn't find work, and I saw how the women were really, really suffering, so I set up Clean Start. And what Clean Start does, we go into the prisons, we train the women. So we've got a 12-week program. It's called the Ufunuo program.
Yeah.
It's 12 weeks. That's the basic level because it has other levels like advanced, masters. If you want to become a leader, if you want to become a pro bono paralegal, you know, you go through the advanced training. But every woman in prison must take the basic level of Ufunuo. It's 12 weeks. And then upon graduation, you can now join Clean Starts initiatives on the outside because we've set up economic hubs like tailoring centers, bakery centers where, you know, they can come bake, cook. We have some that are in construction, masons, painters. So, you know, if out there you've got a building, these women, we've trained them in construction, carpentry. We've got the green energy space as well, where they make charcoal briquettes and the clean energy cooking stoves. Yeah, so we've got all these spaces where they can earn an income that we've set up. So you don't need to leave prison and then go into the streets. You leave prison and you come find a place to work, and then you're able to decently fend for your family.
So that Clean Start is giving you, you know, a place to do your baking.
Yes.
And then how are you getting the income?
So we sell the stuff. So, you know, we make the cakes. It's just like any other business.
Yes.
It's 100% business. So you come. What Clean Start does, because their biggest issue is capital, how to start. So we look for funding and we start those business centers. We invest heavily. So we'll get the equipment, set up the place. You won't need to worry about rent. You just need to bring yourself, having gone through our program, have the right mindset, right attitude, follow the rules and regulations, and you're good to go. It's a business. So profits are divided, pay for the women, replow back into the business, and keep some for Clean Start to keep going for sustainability.
So I'm having this, you know, my term is coming to an end on a Tuesday, you know, of this week. What happens once I set my foot out? To be honest with you, I've been serving, you know, a 10 jail term, you know, 10-year jail term, and I don't have a house, you know, nowhere to sleep, honestly, nowhere to sleep, and, you know, my family is no longer there, or, you know, that whole tag of, you know, she's a convict and, you know, those kind of things, or we don't want to associate ourselves with that. How do you help those kind of people? Because it's not just about job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the reality on the ground. The reality on the ground is that the day the gate opens, you will not have even bus fare, let alone money to get a cab, bus fare to get into a bus to take you wherever it is that you want to go. And also remember, the world has changed. So much has happened to the extent that you don't even know where you're going. And in any case, where are you going? You've been behind bars for decades.
Yeah.
So exactly where is it you're going? So as Clean Start, and that's where the Sisters on the Outside movement comes in. So climb as you lift. So we've supported you as a woman, you've got to pay back to the movement, and that's how the movement keeps going sustainably. The women who already left a while back and they're now working and they're well settled, they are the ones who will come to pick you on the day that you're leaving prison. It's a sisterhood that works. So the day they pick you, in case you don't have anywhere to go on that day, Clean Start has a safe center where you can come and spend some time. We're currently based in Kileleshwa, and the women who completely, they have nowhere to go, they can come to Kileleshwa and spend some time there as we figure out how they're going to rebuild their lives.
Yeah.
But I must say, the space is not enough, given the numbers of women, because it's not just in Nairobi women are being released.
Yeah.
So that's an area that we're looking to find more partners and more support to establish safe houses of where these women can go. But currently, the sisterhood has to make it work because we can't allow one of ours to be released and sleep on the outside. And that's why Sisters on the Outside really matters, because we have to be there for one another, because we know what it is like when you leave. The stigma is so high.
I was about to ask about the stigma. Thank God you brought it, yeah?
It's so high, some women have literally scorched themselves dead because of stigma. And what most women do is they actually move places. And you know, it's very sad because it's your social ties that help you grounded and anchor you. But you can imagine you've got to move. So like, let's say if you were staying somewhere in Gedurai, you have to move and go all the way, look for a place where no one knows you, for you to start afresh. But yes, no one knows you. Yes, they will not stigmatize you because they know you, but equally, they won't help you because they don't know you. So it's harder to begin. So either way, it's really difficult either way.
Just before we wrap up, the event that you just convened.
Yes.
I would like that you speak about it because it's brought together lots of women from lots of backgrounds, you know, sharing almost the same, you know, sort of story.
Yeah.
So tell me about it.
Yeah. So this fourth Beyond the Bars Africa conference has been an exciting one, I must say. It's just been phenomenal. So first and foremost, we brought together 400 formerly imprisoned women from across the country. All parts of this nation were here at Kasarani Stadium. And then, in addition to that, we brought a group of 10 formerly imprisoned ladies from New York City who have been doing this kind of work for decades. And the reason why we invited them to come is so that our community can get to learn from them, to strengthen the partnership, the collaboration, and it's not just the learning, it's not just the mentoring, but it's also to strengthen, and to strengthen and pass the message across that if this can be done in the US, we can also do it here, where we support those who are coming out of prisons and give them second chances. We also brought criminal justice actors. The judiciary was very well represented, and we love that they said that those who commit petty offenses and misdemeanors, they will not be being taken to prison. So we love that. We're following up on that. The faith-based organizations were heavily represented because they play a key role in reintegration and destigmatizing those who are coming out of prisons. Of course, civil society, academia, a lot of the universities, criminal justice and law schools were there because they need to learn. So a lot of partnerships and collaborations were in the room just to see how do we ensure that the criminal justice system is not only blind, but as well becomes fair. But most importantly, to remember that it's people and it's family that go through that criminal justice system, and they need to be supported when they leave that system to reintegrate back into society successfully.
I was about to ask you to just give a parting shot to people who are wrongfully convicted, you know, for crimes that they didn't commit and that sort of thing. And I think you've touched on that. However, I'd like to know you personally, because I know that you had this 3-month baby while you're getting behind bars. So tell me about your family, Teresa. I'd love to know more, but very briefly, please.
So my daughter is now, actually she's just turned 13.
Gosh.
Oh my goodness me, she's already a
my
teenager.
regards to her.
Thank you so much. She's doing incredibly well. Her name is Oma. In my dialect, that means truth. Because I was praying for truth all through when I was expecting her. And then I have a son who's 10. His name is Uhuru. And I named him Uhuru because I was blessed with Uhuru 2 months after I was declared innocent. Great. So that's me.
I'm so happy to hear that, and many thanks for what you're doing. You know, I really honor that, you know, sort of self-initiative. However, there's a lot of, you know, negativity that comes with what you're doing. You know, not to get it wrongly, but not everybody's going to be supporting you. So what sort of challenges have you faced?
A lot, as you have said.
Yes, please.
It takes time. It's a very criminalized space. So people have second thoughts before they associate with you. But I think we've proven ourselves. We've run this organization to a point where it has supported 4,000 women. And it's very clear, these women are not criminals. These women were denied opportunities over and over and over again. And that is why they ended up in the streets. What would you do if it were you in their shoes? So let's be more empathetic. Let's be more compassionate. Let's think about others and the ones especially we leave behind. And let's look at ourselves and ask ourselves, what am I doing to ensure that there's inclusivity, that there's equity, that there's diversity? What am I doing as an individual, as a corporate, as an organization? Just think about it and commit to doing something.
Thank you, Teresa. Thanks so much for your time.
We
would have spoken a lot more, you know that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I really applaud you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Many thanks for watching the show today. Join us again next Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Kenyan time only on KTN News. Remember, if you have a story you'd like to share with us, don't hesitate. Write to us through globetraction@standardmedia.co.ke or DM us on our social media platforms at globetraction. You can also follow me on my social media platforms at Pasil Telewa on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and YouTube for more of behind the scenes. But until then, I hope to catch up with you again soon, same time, same place. Bye-bye for now.